In this video, we're going to be doing the string equals method. The string equals method is really simple, but one thing you need to understand why, first of all, we have the equals method is because if you try to do this, for example, if I try to do string s is equal to hello, and then I create another string s1 is equal to hello. Although these are equivalent strings, they're stored in separate locations in memory. And so we can't necessarily just try to check for equivalency because they're stored in different locations, memory locations. So that's why we use the string equals method to essentially check for equivalent strings. That's the reason why the equals method exists in the first place. So let's give you an example. So we have string city1 is equal to New York City, and string city2, you can have spaces in your variable names, keep that in mind. You can, if you want a space, you can write an underscore. City2 is London. And if you want to check if these are equivalent and print out if they're equivalent or not, which is going to be a Boolean because it's going to be true or false. So that's a situation where we would see a Boolean. City, and when we get to methods and when we write methods, this is going to be pretty fun. You can choose to do a lot of things. It's very powerful. So city1 dot equals city2, and this is going to output false, right? It should be false. We'll go out and test it on our IDE with a different situation, but or maybe the same situation. We'll see. So output is false. But if we had this thing here, then it would be, in this alternate situation, we would have true. That's basically what this is. These two strings are the same, so it's true. If it's different, it's false, and you cannot use the equality operator to check because the strings are stored in memory, and memory addresses are probably different. The memory addresses will be different because there's two separate strings stored in different locations in memory. Let's go over to our IDE.
All right, so now we're using replit in this case. So now we're gonna demonstrate the dot equals method. So the first thing we're gonna do to demonstrate this is create two variables. So the first variable, we're gonna say string place equals Texas. And then we're gonna end up with a semicolon, give a new line and say string place1 is equal to Austin. And that was semicolon again. And so now we're gonna we're gonna print out if both of those strings are equal. So we do system out print line ln, and we're gonna use the variable. So place dot equals place1, which essentially means you're comparing place and place1 the strings. But you see here that Texas and Austin are not the same string, so this output has to be false. Now, in order to confirm that, let's now run the program in our IDE. So output. So if we run it, we see let it compile. We see it's gonna output false because Texas and Austin are two different strings. And that's essentially what equals does for us. It compares two strings if they're the same. Then it's going to print out true. If they're not the same, then it's going to print out false. So now to actually output true, let's go ahead and change Austin to Texas, which means they're the exact same string. And now let's run the program and see that it's going to print out true because both of those strings have the same exact string, and therefore it's going to print out true. But if you go ahead and switch Texas to lowercase, so go and place1, or just place and switch it to lowercase. Now if we print it out, then you see it's going to print out false, because when you use dot equals, it's also going to account for if there's case sensitivity, which means it's going to also check for lowercase and uppercase, and it's going to distinguish between them. So you have to be careful about case sensitivity when you're using dot equals. That was pretty much it for the equals method. Thanks.